Well, hello, troopers, and welcome back to General Canoe's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining us here on this near hot level temperatures out here night. And as usual, our good friend, Mike from the Dad Vader is joining us. Despite the inclemencies of the weather, he's braving the storm like the
It's pretty
trooper
cold
he
out
is.
here.
Yeah, man,
Pretty
no
horrible and
kidding,
miserable.
dude. Yeah, especially for you, bro. I mean, heading out to work this morning on
Ah,
the in the 20s. That's not nice.
yeah.
That's not
We,
something we see out here, that often either.
we Texans don't do cold, so
Yeah, no
yeah,
kidding.
no fun.
Yeah, man. And we're set to get even colder tonight. There's still apparently a good chance of snow, which I don't know if we'll get actual snow. I think we are gonna, freeze over, if the what's called the humidity, gets keeps getting up there. It feels pretty humid right now already. So I think we'll get some icing. Um, I don't know about full out like actual snow, but who knows? Maybe it is getting that cold. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us here this fine Monday night. Quite a bit going on this Monday, from what I hear. Turns out there's
Uh-huh.
this whole thing with the passing of the torch over there on Coruscant. And then of course we are remembering one of the great influencers, one of the great fighters for rights, equal rights, I should say, Martin Luther King Jr. That's the holiday for many of us today. I was lucky enough to actually not have to go to work today, thanks to that, and which was good. Again, just because it's that cold. Um, but not everybody was that lucky. So yeah, once again, thank you for joining us here. I do want to start off by saying that here in the bunker, we don't get political, guys. Okay, we don't get we don't get real war political. All right, I can debate you on how the Senate should have handled emergency powers to Palpatine all day long. All right, that's I'll get into that kind of politics, but real war politics, I draw a line. So we're not here to discuss that. Again, I know the inauguration was today. Whichever way you feel about it, you are completely entitled to your own opinion, as are Mike and I. But I'm going to tell you right now, we won't talk about that. All right. This is just about the disclaimer I want to give out. And that's pretty much all I'll say on the subject, to be honest with y'all, because that's not what we're here for. Um, Again, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I respect it. But this is not, the forum for that. All right. So again, just a little disclaimer, just to
Yep.
be sure we're all on the same page.
Safe
Um,
place to hang out and forget
Absolutely,
about the real world issues and just
exactly,
go Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all the nerd
exactly,
stuff. Just throw it here.
absolutely, absolutely. That's what we're all about here. Escaping the madness that is the everyday life, right? So once again, welcome. I hope that y'all are staying warm. Um, my understanding is pretty much the whole country is getting pretty low temps. So um, obviously some places are getting way colder than where we are down
Yep.
here.
One of our
But
buddies up in Canada let me know that it was negative
mhm,
13 Celsius. I don't know what the I think it's like
yeah, it's pretty bad.
6, 10, somewhere on there as far as Fahrenheit. But I'm like,
Yeah,
how do you even like live? Like,
I was gonna
there's,
say that's
I
not
don't,
you know I don't understand why people choose to live there. I'm like, nope, that's not. I'm gonna
like, I
pass
know
on
you have
that
to
one.
move. There's
Yeah,
U-Haul.
exactly. But yeah, yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, we're no strangers to what we like to call down here winter Texans. Um, and the older I get, the more and more I understand them, dude. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to escape that kind of cold? Um, but yeah. So again, hopefully everybody is staying warm, staying safe out there. Um, and don't forget about your pets also. Don't forget about your plants also, if you're that kind of person.
Mm.
um yeah, I had to move. We have a technically small lemon tree because it's not a tree yet, but it's not that small either, and it's in a gigantic, pot that I had to lunge around, this afternoon, so he wouldn't die out there.
No, but
So
that's a fruit bearing or something that gives to you. Like I've seen people like, oh, my flower that I
yeah,
can't name, they're covering that thing up or like trying to figure out how to get it inside. I'm like,
yeah. Good luck with that.
nature, like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
survived
I
all
was like,
these
I'm
years
sorry. Yeah,
without help.
exactly. I'm like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But yeah, dude. So I saw this post. We're going off topic here, maybe a little bit, but I saw this post earlier here in the little like Facebook group that we got here in the neighborhood. So this person kind of took it upon herself to just go out, into our adjacent streets, and she found like she had rescued like 5 dogs, today. The problem or the issue she was more having or raising up, in the Facebook group, is that they all had colors. They all had colors, so it's
Mm.
like they all got owners, but they were out here, just like out on the streets and stuff. So if this is your dog, come pick it up. Like I have it, but you got to do a little bit better. Like you got to keep an eye on them because weather is pretty rough, right? So they're definitely not, hopefully not, having to spend the day outside. Um but yeah, so once again, guys, stay warm, stay safe, you know and yeah, and go grab that blanket, go grab some hot chocolate, some hot cocoa, whichever one you prefer. um Coffee is acceptable too. I know people say it's like, oh yeah, if I drink coffee too late, I can't sleep. I don't have that problem. I can sleep while driving, and I have done many, many times. Thank you for joining us on this sort of send off episode, right? I mean, we're kind of wrapping up here this fun little show we like to call Skeleton Crew. So, welcome to this sort of final episode of the Tortuga Talk, where we've been predicting, what's gonna happen at each episode pretty accurately. Not gonna lie, we had a pretty good run on our predictions. I guess it does pay off to bribe some of the execs at the studio to get us the scripts,
It's true.
and we do it gladly, just for content for you guys. Speaking of you guys, let me jump here into the chat. Appreciate y'all joining tonight. First and foremost, we got Mike, the Dad Vader, pulling double duty, saying hello there, Bunker Bunch. We got Elena Abernell saying new here. What's going on? Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully, you enjoy. Hopefully, you have fun out here. Welcome to the bunker. Absolutely. We got Luis joining the stream. What's going on? Saying hello, General Kenobi. Hi, says Martha. You're, says my cuz, Pop the Bounty Collector. What's going on, brother? Dude, oh my lord. I don't know if you've seen it, but he got the Dart Revan hot toy and he posted a review on it. Oh, that thing is gorgeous, dude. That thing
Very
is,
beautiful.
yeah, man. That thing is so tempting, but I'm trying to be good. I am trying to be
Yep.
good. We got
You got a big trip
Chris.
coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We got Chris from the Nerd Squadron says, how are we doing, Bunker Bunch? Doing good, man. Trying to stay warm out here despite, weather's worst efforts. Chris, what's up? Says that Vader. Luis says that Vader. Pop says that Vader. We got Jeff, Star Wars Addict 77. What the Bunker Bunch is on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Jeff is another one that has been, weathering like negative, degree for a couple of weeks now.
But he's on that
Again,
other planet.
yeah, I was gonna
He's
say,
on
dude.
Hoth.
Yeah, no, that's on the hot system. I'm like, I don't mess with that. Jeff says, Mike, hey, we got Big John in the house. Johnny Be Good says, howdy, boys. What's going on, man? Hopefully you're staying warm out there, dude. Good to see you, man. Welcome, welcome. Johnny, what's up? Says Mike. Jeff saying that better will have to go back and we'll have to go back and watch. We'll have to go back and watch. Got me on that one. I'll take 102 over 22 any day, bro.
That's what
There you
Texas
go.
battle right there. Hot and sweaty. We can do
Yeah,
that all
right.
day.
Exactly. Yeah. Jose, I sent you a ooh,
Oh,
let me check that out.
speaking of, yeah,
Yeah,
he's on
exactly.
Hoth right now.
I was gonna say we were just talking about that. Okay, I'll pull it up here in a little bit. Let me keep going on Facebook. Gotcha.
Proofread the picture. It might be him in like a speedo or something.
Oh man, I'm gonna save that to my
trolling us.
favorites. I always do that. Here we go. Let me show you guys this. Um, right there. Look at that. Representing, of course, our friends from the Spice Runners Lounge, which Jeff is a part of, an integral part, I would say. But look at all that. Look at all that behind him. What the heck is that? What the heck is that white cold substance? I don't know, man. Looks deadly to me. So, Jeff, I hope that you took this picture and you ran back inside immediately. That you were out there for all of 45 seconds, because that's how long I would probably last. We got Pat's fan in the house saying, "Hey, General and Dad Vader, appreciate you coming in, man." Hey, Jeff. Yeah, man, dude. Yeah. Is your beard like snowy? Is that what's going on, Jeff? It's just got a little bit of salt and pepper going on. So yeah, that looks freaking cold, man. Again, I highly doubt we'll get anything like that tonight. But the chances are definitely not zero, for which is usually the case out here. So yeah, again, stay warm, stay safe. Excuse me. Let me keep going here. Pat saying hi to Ricky. Pat's fan says Jeff. Pat saying hi to Johnny. We got Mike saying hi to Pat, and we got Chris saying I'll take 37 over 120. I don't know, man. You might have a point. Might have a point. Not too well. I mean, I don't know, man. 37 is
He's
still
got
pretty
that.
cold, bro.
He's in Vegas, right?
That is true. That is true.
That's
So
that desert heat. That's a
yeah,
different. That's a
that
different
is a
type.
very
That's
different
dry.
type of heat. Yeah, very true. Very true. So maybe if you put it like that, 37 still. How about like 57? How's that? I'll
Yeah,
take
57.
57 over 120. How's that? I'll trade you. Jeff says I would love to say snowy, but I'm old as dirt. Stay warm, everybody. Hey, nerd, says Pat's fan. Yeah, guys. So definitely getting cold out there for sure. I think I think this. I mean, I think between tonight or today and tomorrow is probably going to be our coldest, right? For
Yep.
probably for the year, to be honest with you guys. We don't really get that cold, or we don't get that many cold days out here, which I feel we've been kind of lagging, compared to last year. So I'm kind of feel like this might be the lowest we get, but I don't know. There's still,
I think
February's been kind of crazy too.
like mid-February is like the
Yeah,
cutoff of like really cold front. So
exactly.
we got maybe less than 30 days of another chance of extreme
Yeah,
cold.
yeah,
But
exactly. I had another shot at it, but yeah. So yeah, exactly.
do all
Uh,
the stuff.
right. Now the bad thing out here is that once the cold is over, there is no midpoint. We just go back up to 100. So that's the only
Yep.
bad thing. Um, but enough, I guess, of the weather. Let's talk Skeleton Crew. So last week, almost a week ago, we got our last episode 8 of Skeleton Crew. Trying, and I'm gonna say trying to wrap up, the season. We still haven't really heard right about a season 2. More on that later. We'll touch up on that. But what are you saying? We go super fast. Just for those of you who have not seen the episode, I gotta tell you guys, we are definitely gonna be talking about spoilers here. Um, Again, it's been almost a week, so I kind of feel that if you haven't seen it, is because you don't really want to. So maybe spoilers don't really matter to you. But I do want to say it just in case you've been holding out. Maybe you're trying to watch the entire season, in one sitting, with a gigantic box of cheese balls. That's fine. We've all done it. It's totally fine. It's totally normal. But I'm just again letting you know we are gonna go into spoiler territory. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. All right. So let me pull this up. So we had our last episode, which gave us a little bit of a recount, right, of the season. We had to see that cool mask that SM33, busted wide open.
Put a
And
big dent
so,
on it.
yeah, right. And it was funny because I remember that episode. I was like, why is he got the mask on again? And then wham! I'm like, oh, that's why. They didn't want to show Jude Law getting punched in the face, straight up. or they couldn't afford to show Jude Law
It's
getting
true.
punched in the face. Um, so we
How did
got
you
back.
feel about the little recap there? Do you feel like it was a little long, or do you felt like that was a good amount? Like
You
if
know,
you hadn't really watched and you were able to catch up right there, that's what I felt like. Just the right amount of time was put to it.
I think so too. I think anything above that I would consider long, because we're talking about 7 episodes, right? Worth of stuff. And I'm not gonna say that's easy, but if you're at this point, more than likely you've watched them, right? I mean, I would say that's a pretty fair assumption. I do appreciate the recaps, and I'll tell you what, I appreciate them on the second season, episode 1. That's when I really watched them, to be honest with you, because I'm like, all right, you're gonna put stuff that I should remember, uh quote unquote, that is needed for this new season, right? So pretty much on any show, whenever I jump seasons, if I'm not binge watching it, I'll watch the recap, because I'm like, all right, it's been 2 years since I saw the show. I'm not gonna remember every detail, so recap. That's when I'll watch the minute, or minute and a half, or whatever it is, right? On this one, season finale, I don't know. I could either take it or leave it, to be honest with you. It didn't bother me, if that's what you're asking. And it's fine. The runtime, guys, we had heard just before the episode drop, right? Like a week ago, we heard that it had confirmed by the showrunners that it was like close to like an hour, right? Because I remember we talked about it here, and people were like, "Yeah, they just said it. It's gonna be close to an hour," and then it wasn't, like, at all, right? I think this thing, it's labeled at 38 minutes, but guys, that is with, yeah, so that's with a solid like 3 to 4 minutes of just credits, and then I would say another half a minute, maybe up to a minute, of leading up to starting the actual episode, right? So I think the bulk of the episode is more like 33, right? Actually, maybe like 31, 32. So very, very far away from what we had heard. Um,
A little disappointed with that because
yeah, yeah.
I do felt like the episode not necessarily suffered a ton from that, but I felt like we could have gotten a little bit more meat in some areas, and I felt time constraint.
Oh, I agree 100% with you. I well, tell you what, let's go quickly through it, and then we'll kind of give it our thoughts, right? And once again, guys, as you can see here on the screen, we are going to be talking about spoilers. We're going to be showing spoilers. This is the last episode of Skeleton Crew, so we kind of got the reunion right where we left off from episode 7. Jod posing very easily, by the way, very, very easily posing as New Republic emissary. I think that's what they called him. um, and basically, taking over the entirety of Aten's security forces, just by saying he is. No ID, no retinal scan, no nothing. Anyway, nitpicking. Um, and so we got the um, the reunion, with the parents, and he kind of is still playing the part, right? Still playing the part with the parents, because he's like, yeah, I saved these guys, and you guys should definitely keep a closer watch on them, etc., etc. And then you know um obviously the kids didn't really want to say anything, because John had just threatened to lightsaber their parents, basically. So they're keeping quiet. They're definitely not happy with him. um and so John basically tells the droids, put them all into like house arrest, basically, right? So they all part ways. Again, the droids just completely listen to what Jod says. Jod does take I forget her name. The
Fern,
mom, the no Fern, yeah, but Fern's mom, I whatever her name is, sorry. Because
yeah,
she's like an administrative, right? So she's like, yeah,
yep.
I think, oh, Farah, there you go, Farah, thank you. Um, I think we should go see the administrator, right? I need to report all of this, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Fern is obviously concerned that they're being played, and now they're with Jod. So again, lightsaber, right? Very reachable to her mom. So Wim and Dad are back in the in their house, and they're being watched very creepily, with them security droids. Um, so finally, we get up to the administrator's tower, right? And
The big reveal.
I know, right? And then, so I'll be honest with you, when they get here, um, everything's like super dusty, right? Um, I was a little bit surprised to see chairs there, but I was like, okay, so in my mind, either there's not gonna be an administrator like it was always, like maybe somebody existed, like 200 years ago, and then, you know, they never got relief of their duty, or the war happened, or like you got like frozen in time, right, type of thing, which kind of was the case, but I was off, obviously. Or the other thing was, I was half expecting Farah to turn around, right, and be like, yeah, I'm the administrator, right, like I gotta play the part because of you know this and this and secrecy, right, and security and all that. And my third and favorite option, which I really kind of wish they would have gone for, is that good old, captain of the Onyx Cinder had actually deposed the real administrator, right? And he was the one sitting in the captain's chair of all of Atten and kind of calling the stuff. What do you think? Did you always buy into this droid control type of thing?
I was expecting a person to be,
Yeah.
and I was thinking maybe this is where we get a cameo.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
this is the moment we're gonna get maybe not a character we've seen on screen before, but just a known character. I was thinking, maybe that's where they throw Hondo in, like,
Yeah.
but I was expecting something more than what we got. So that was kind of not, I wouldn't say a letdown, but it was going to be like, if they don't do something
Right.
above, this
Right.
is like my baseline expectation is that a huge droid is running the system,
Yeah.
or a small droid. It would have been funny if it was like a mouse droid.
Dude, exactly. I was really, really thinking they were gonna, Wizard of Us, um, the stuff like and exactly like that, right? So I saw the giant thing, and I'm like, all right, so it sounds like a droid. It's kind of moving like a droid, but I'm like, I bet you there's somebody inside, like literally pulling the strings, right? And again, I still held on hope. I'm like, oh, there's got to be somebody fun in there. Um, I have pictured, like Hondo, like you said, saying, "Hey, everybody!" Like, yeah. So I ended up getting stuck here, So I figured if I couldn't escape, then might as well like run the place, something, right? I'm like, so I increased production for like 3 times over, so we got plenty of credits, like something like that. I don't know, some convoluted plan that he made up in his mind to not go even further insane, right? If it's like, if I can't leave the planet, then I'm gonna, uh, become as filthy rich as possible, right? Um, yeah. And so I'm with you. I was kind of hoping for a cameo here, like I said, and then so it's this giant droid that you see here on screen, and then they get to talk, and then yeah, it kind of just seems like it is really just a giant droid, right? Pulling the strings, and so yeah, he congratulates them and stuff. I did like this when Jod says like, yeah, I'm an emissary, I'm a Jedi, and all that. He's like, all right, well, got a little bit of a hiccup here, right? And I really did like the way they kind of very casually like brought it up, right? Like he didn't went like full on menacing, right? He's like, so we got a something to sort out like here. Yeah, we got a bit of a hiccup. Either, so he's like, because the last message that I got was that all the Jedi were traitors, right? So either you're lying about being a Jedi or you're lying about being an emissary, right? So kind of like, pick your poison here. So I thought that was kind of cool, right? They kind of flipped it there. Um, so the the plot didn't really work all the way with the administrator, even though again at this point Jod has been commanding all the droids, right? All the security forces. So again, it's one of those things that I'm like, well, I thought the administrator kind of ran them, right? So
I
it
think it
was
was
kind of,
kind of a ploy on the administrator to be like, just let the droids follow his commands because eventually it's going to lead him
yeah,
to me, and then we're going to deal with it where it's in a controlled area. So that's kind of how I
sure,
took that. Um,
I can see that.
and then this coming up here, we'll talk about it here in a second.
Yeah, so this was probably my favorite, actually my second favorite visual part of the episode. Let me see if I got it here. Yes, so they all go. Yes, I love this effect, man. Like lightsabers parrying, the stunned, what will we call them, rings, I guess, right? Like the blast, the stun blasts. And every time they deflect them, it's almost like a liquid like flow that they got to it. And I know we saw it on Clone Wars, which again I love because for years we never saw what that looked like, right? We knew there were stun blast from like the first, what is it, 5 minutes of Star Wars, in all of history. Um, but we never really saw a lightsaber, go up against them. So we got that fairly recently. Um, and I love the way this looks, and Jod, we know he's fairly proficient, right, with the lightsaber. So I really like the way this looked. I like the way Jod looks, just in general. Like his character design is fun. He reminds me of sort of like the Maverick Jedi type of thing, right?
What I was
Um,
kind of going through on that scene
yeah,
was obviously I was reflecting on the where they Ahsoka was circled by the
yeah,
troopers in her training, so that was kind of like a flash there. But then I started
yeah.
thinking, okay, these droids or the administrator, apparently they cherish life because they set to stun. They didn't put
Hmm.
blasters. Like obviously this lightsaber is a huge threat to them, and we're just going to try to stun them.
Yeah,
So I was like, okay, so they obviously are not very violent, or they treasure life over
true.
anything. So I was kind of like, okay, they're
Yeah. Yep. Did I lose you there? I can't hear you. Chat, can you hear Mike? I see you moving and stuff, but I can't hear you right now. Try again. Nope. All right. Mild technical difficulties. That's what we get for talking bad about the mouse house, They're like, oh, you don't like it? Boom. Take you out. Okay, so let me take this couple of minutes here to jump right back into the chat. Let's see. Hola, amigos, says Nilda. What's going on, Nilda? Thank you so much for joining. Nilda, hello there, says Mike, saying, how did y'all enjoy last episode and overall? Exactly. Pat saying, hi to Nilda. My son sending messages. Buddy, go to sleep. It's kind of late. Overall, 7.5 for me. All right, all right. I think I'm around there actually, Patsman. Patsman saying hi to Maria, which is my kid. I'm at 7.3, says that better. Ooh, that is accurate. Rushmore show in the house. Ayo, Bunker Bunch fam. Watching the last few episodes of Skeleton Crew right now. Ooh, dude, we're talking spoilers, man. So I appreciate you joining, but don't let us spoil the fun. Spoilers here is exactly, says Mike. Pats fan saying no sound. No sound from Mike. Can you all hear me though? Hello there, everyone, says OBP. Let's see. Let me try to bring on Mike again. Nope. Hey, Mike, you can hear us. There's
I can
no.
hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now, but
Okay,
I cannot see you.
even better.
Yeah. Neil doesn't have a Pats fan. Obi says Pats fan. Um, yeah, it's so weird. So you show up on screen like you're square, but there's nothing on it.
So
So,
on YouTube, I can see myself.
oh, really? That is very
On my
interesting.
phone, I can see myself.
Okay, maybe it's just StreamYard being kind of weird. Uh, Bunker Bunch, can you see Mike and hear him for that matter? I can hear him, but I don't. There's no image on my side. Can hear you both. Okay, thank you. OBP. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right. Well, we carry on. If you guys can see Mike and hear him, then we move on. Um, so, okay. So then the administrator takes a lightsaber to the eye, as I think pretty much everybody here, was not surprised about that. And yeah, so there goes the administrator. Uh, Short-lived introduction, if you ask me. And
In
of
and out.
course, yeah, exactly. And then of course, all of Ad Atten goes down. Uh, Jod actually um, activated this lever that's meant to deactivate, right? The the barrier, right? Like, but it's basically like a kill switch, right? Like it's not an on and off thing. It's just like almost like a self destruct thing, right? But so they get into an argument about getting the pirates access, which they do.
Seems like a
And
lot of design flaws in their defense system.
I gotta be honest with you. For this place being like the Fort Knox, right, of Star Wars, pretty light on the defenses. I do understand that they are relying heavily on the fact that very very few people know where the place is at, right? And then they're hidden, and then they got that whole barrier thing. Um, but at the same time, I would think that you you would want at least like a couple of ships, for home defense if everything else goes down, right? Which it did in this case. Um, I would still want some good old, troopers guarding this place, right? Um, like I said, maybe with a few fighter squadrons. I'm not saying a full on armada. I understand that, like, keeping a fleet is expensive, even though they got plenty of credits here. And if you're hidden and you got that barrier and everything, maybe a fleet doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, I would still want to keep,
In-
sort of that last line of defense type of thing, right?
Instead
But
of one big gun, two big guns.
right, or a big gun that's not like 200 years old, maybe. I'm just saying, I was worried for Neil. I was worried for him. I'm like, bro, that thing is gonna blow up in your face. So pirates come in, unchallenged. All of the droids are basically down.
That intro was pretty dope of the pirate ship
Dude,
coming
right?
in.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can grab it here, because yeah, there we go. See, look at that. Visually, that's really nice, and the music was great at this
Yes.
point. So I do like the pirate ship. I like the design of it. So very menacing, obviously. With their pew pews pointing down, and they just start wreaking havoc. I did love this.
I don't know what's
So
up with him and Bubble Bass,
I
but
was gonna say, so guys, I mean, really, this whole thing is just Neo trying to peacefully take a bubble bath. It's like that's his mission in this show. Like that's all he
rubber
wants.
ducky, rubber ducky.
Exactly. That's exactly all he wants. And they keep messing with him. They keep raining down problems on him.
And ultimately, that's why he turns to the dark side.
Exactly. So there you go. Don't say that he didn't
Season
have
two.
a, yeah, exactly, he had all of the motives. So super cute, man. I love this. Yeah, sure enough, he looks up. This is that gigantic pirate ship. Now this, I mean, I'm like, again, maybe nitpicking, right? Maybe because they've definitely lived a shelter life. But I'm like, bro, if you see a giant ship with a bunch of guns, maybe you don't know they're pirates, but you got to imagine something's off by this point. I don't know that I would take out my entire, family, all my babies out into the front lawn, you know, right there, front and center.
Well, I don't
Uh,
know. Maybe their life's that boring. Like they're
that is
just like,
very true. That is very
what is
true.
that? Go look at it. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly right. Like it's like there nothing has happened in the last like 150 years. So this is just way too much excitement. So it might never happen again. So I'm gonna take my kids out. I did like this. Like I said, visually, I do like the pirate ship quite a bit. I kind of like the just kind of like the exposed hangar, in the middle. Um, but they definitely start, attacking, of course, the city. Wim's dad is like, "Don't worry, the security doors will handle it." And he's like, "Oh, the security doors, the ones that we just like knocked down, because they're completely off." And he's like, "Oh yeah, good point." Obviously, the crew gets back together. At this point, by the way, they've all kind of been doing their own thing, with the at each of their respective, homes, right? They basically went back with their parents, and then
I like how they didn't waste time and being like everybody
no,
like showing like we got to go help our friends. They're just like, no, they know what to do. Action time. Let's go.
exactly, yeah. And so Neil does bring up, Kim, the bird lady, which I thought was funny, because like in case you don't remember, and a bird lady from the telescope moon, again, very accurately described, says that she knows the X-wings, right? So it's kind of funny because they don't even know they're called like the New Republic or anything like that. They're like, we got to call the X-wings. Like that's what
That's the
they
good
know,
guys.
right?
Yeah, the
Exactly.
X-wing, they'll save us.
Yes, the X-wing will save us. Let's see. OBP says, I thought they have a better backup with the droids, at least too reliant on the shield. Yeah, exactly, man. Um, some clankers or something like that. Dude, right? Imagine that would have been pretty cool. Hello there, this is Blackstar9. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining us. Um, hey, Blackstar says Pat's fan. Hey, Blackstar says OBP. Blackstar saying, what's up, OBP? Star9 says Mike. So they got a plan, they're like, hey, we gotta call the lady, the bird lady, and tell her to call the X-wings, right? And so pirates start their attack, descending, rallying up the people, of course. The kids are on their bikes because why wouldn't they? They kind of being like that all throughout. Now they do this whole like high speed chase through the woods, obviously kind of reminiscing of Endor in my mind. But we got this
I was
speeder.
going with ET. Like that
Very
was like
true.
a hardcore like ET moment for me.
Very true. I did like that the dad joined them though.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought they were just gonna play him off again.
Or as
But
Evan calls him, LeBron James.
yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, so I did like that the dad, joined them. We got to see plenty of our good friend uh, Marty Matulis, here. He was very much front and center in a lot of these scenes, which is good.
He
Always,
did
always
get
like to
a
see.
good amount of screen time on this episode or on
Do
this
right?
series. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they go out blasting, trying to blast against the kids. Very nice action sequence for sure. Very good looking. Um, Again, you're like, little kids on scooters, dodging pirate blasting them for like half an hour. I don't know, right? But it
There
definitely
was
looked cool.
the pilot with the eye patch. His depth perception was horrible.
Yeah, he's the one in charge of calibrating those guns. So there you go. Maybe
I
maybe
used to be a
some
stormtrooper.
yeah, exactly. Top notch training right there. So very cool. I did like that, they basically go through the testing area, right? That we saw in that first episode when Wim basically lost the opportunity to test. This I was like, no, don't even start. They knocked down Neo, and I'm like, all right, I need everybody to form a human shield around him, right? Like seriously, this is not. And then he's like, no, just keep going. And they go. I'm like, you cruel, cruel bastards. You just left the man by himself. Now, little do we know, Neil had a, pretty big plan up his sleeve, right?
I
But
got that hint because we got that teaser from that they showed the gun. He learned about the gun.
exactly.
They're carbon copies of each other. So
Yeah,
Neil on his toes is like, you know what? I lost my bike. I got something bigger.
exactly. And I'm already at the school, right? So all I need to do is get up to the roof.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought it was like, oh yeah, go on, and they're like, okay, and they just like sped off. Like I'm like, really? Nobody
See
even
ya.
like, no man, we're gonna go back for you right now. And he's like, no, like nobody like second guessed it, and they're like, all right, see ya. So yeah, so the kids, basically they're trying to get to the ship, right? Because it has a working phone that they can call the bird lady and get them X-wings out there. So that's kind of the whole objective here. And they get there, and it was cool for the dad to be like, oh, what do we do? Like, what are you guys doing? And they're like on it, right? They're KBs, like flipping switches, getting ready to power on everything, etc. And he's like, you guys know how to do this? And they're like, oh yeah, we got this. So I thought that was pretty cool, but they do got a problem with being uh, anchored, right? Like they got
Clamped
this,
on. Yep.
yeah, exactly, got this clamp, they got this boot
They got the
on,
boot. Yep.
and they're like, all right, we got to turn it off. And LeBron drops the best line, which is, son, you're talking to a level 7 systems coordinator. It's like, I got this,
Best line of the series.
right? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, here we go, finally, dude, doing something.
Stepping up.
So basically what they got to do is go up to the administrator's tower, right, and try to power off the clamps. So Neil, you know being the absolute hero that he is, gets up to the roof, and he finds the turbo laser, which is kind of covered, right? So I'm assuming, with all the power off and stuff, it was easy, I guess, to get it back up. So I did like this line. I was trying to get it. Anyway, when she's reporting to John, um, he's like, "Hey, how's things going?" He's like, "Yeah, no, we got him." It does say here, few of them who were armed, we made examples of. And I'm like, "Ooh, that's a pirate thing to do." Obviously, we don't see it, we didn't get to show it, right? But I do.
What were they armed with?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, right? I'm like, so we got a few, what, hunters, maybe? I mean,
A frying pan?
yeah,
Like,
exactly, right. I mean, some sort of, uh, rigged garage, concoction that maybe shot like an arrow or something. I don't know.
yeah, who
So I'm like,
knows?
man, now I kind of want to know what that looked like. Um, but I did like the inclusion of this thing, of this line. I mean, they're like, all right, well, it wasn't all, completely no opposition, which I'm like, yeah, for all intents and purposes, it was, right. But
Pretty much.
again, just a little detail that did throw out there, like, oh yeah, some of them, did try to resist. Um, Jod, of course, is kind of like, no, we need them because we're gonna put him to work for sure, producing credits for us. Um, so Fern is basically making the case that, you know what, we we got to make it to grab that blaster, right, from the droids that are shut down. You got to distract him, stuff like that. And she's like, Farrah, the mom, she's like, I don't know, man, like I'm freaking out. And she's like, no, I got this. Like we're gonna be okay. So there it is, Neil's family. Which, by the way, I don't know that we've talked about it, but Neil's dad is kind of a beast, right? It's kind of a beast looking dude. Um,
A
look
gentle
how much.
giant, some might say.
Yeah, I mean, he's a look at how much he towers like over everybody. Like he's a big dude. Um, Kind of wondering why we didn't see more of him. When they had like the little parent uh, gatherings, right? When they were talking about how to get the kids back.
Budget
Um,
constraints.
yeah, right. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, man, maybe they could only afford one elephant people. So here we got, Wim and his dad making a run for the administrator's tower, dodging again the pirates. Wim comes face to face with Jihad, of course, and he sees kind of the mess that they're in.
I like to say some pretty decent acting right there to
Right?
make it, because they wanted the audience to know he's complete BSing, but he had to sound enough convincing to try to make it seem like he was trying to convince John
Exactly.
of his story. And I was like, he did a really good job of
Yeah.
portraying that. That was a
You
good
know
job.
what? That's actually a very good point. It was almost like a double negative type of thing, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
he had to be obvious that he was being obvious. I don't know how to say it, like you said. but he did really good. He's like, yeah, the whole Jedi army is on their way. Like he doesn't even know that, and so Jad is like, bro, like the Jedi are all dead.
And before my camera cut out, that's all I was saying. We didn't really know yet his full
Hmm.
story of like how he was actually able to swing and block those
Yeah,
blasts. And this is where we start easing into that. So that kind of like, you know, kind of told a little bit of like, oh, he's got some type of training because you can't just deflect stuff like that just your first
exactly.
attempt. So he's got some type of training.
And and so Fern, obviously, oh yeah, talking about the crystal, working with the Jedi, all of that
Mhm.
stuff. All of this to try to, buy Wim's dad some time to deactivate the clamps right on the Onyx Cinder.
Get his level 7 systems coordinator skills on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Which again, these consoles are pretty dusty, man. So I don't know that anybody's been messing with those. So as he's doing, I'm like, man, does these things even work? Like, are the switches even connected to anything? Like, so I'm trying to grab here, kind of like we were talking about in terms of Jot's, sort of story time. So he gets the power back on, and KB takes off with a little bit of help from our favorite pirate droid, right? So SM-33 makes his triumphant return, albeit kind of duct taped together, but still functioning. And our little squirrel guy, also makes it. So she basically has to exit the atmosphere, right, the barrier, in order to get the signal out. And then we got the hero. Boom! Look at that. Blasting. I mean, sorry, Neil blasting away, at the pirate ship on his giant cannon, and being very smart to get out. When he did, because he got a couple of good shots in.
I thought we were gonna get the action
And then
scene
boom.
where he's like he does a dive like as the explosion
Yes,
happens,
I
but
thought that too, but
just
he,
just missed it.
yeah, exactly. He just knows better than to just run out. So KB again, navigating through the cover to the storm. She calls Kim, and he's like, "Hey, get me X-wings like now."
Yep.
And
How many
she's
licks
like,
will it take to get to the
"Exactly."
center
He's
of
like, "We
At?
figured out. Yeah, we figured out how many licks it's gonna take, and we're gonna need your help." So she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna send the New Republic," which I guess she's got on speed dial because, I mean, I gotta be honest with you, that was super fast.
Well, she did say that
Now,
they found a route, right?
exactly, I was gonna say she sent the coordinates, and which again, just one of those details, that I appreciate them actually saying. X-wings are Continental Republic, greatest pirate busters, and she's checking the coordinates here. I got a hyperspace route straight to you, right? Which again, I like because otherwise I would have been like, bro, how they got there like so freaking fast.
Mhm.
This little
Little details.
lines exactly definitely help to ease that, right? Or um, help it make a little bit more sense, right? In my opinion. Let me jump back here into the chat, guys. Not ignoring you, just going through the last episode. Let's see, where were we? Ooh, I fell behind. Um, you got Bryant in the house. What's going on, brother? Just got off work. Let's go. Good evening, gentlemen. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Bryant, it's Pat's fan. Niño Grogo, what's going on, brother? Alto, no lo he visto. Saludos de Chile. Saludos, hermano. Brian says that Vader Nerds Quran says really hoping for a season 2. Yeah, we haven't really heard about it, right? OVP says, gotta log off and head out to bed. Wishing you all a great week. Hey, you too, man. Thank you so much for joining us. What's up, everyone? See, Archer just heard Skeleton Crew. He's like, I'm down. Let's
I'm
go.
down. I gotta go.
Exactly. Good night, Obi. Have a great week. Absolutely. His Pats fan. Mike saying, OP, thanks for singing and stay warm. Absolutely. Hey, nerd, says Pats fan. Nerds Quarantine saying, what's up, nerd affiliated? The nerds talking to each other. I like it. Hey, Chad, says Strong Kill. What's going on? Thank you so much for joining us, man. Sup affiliated, says Mike. Pats fan saying hi to Thrawn. Thrawn saying that woman character actor was in Thor Ragnarok 2. Thor Ragnarok. Who? Sorry. the
The mom?
Farah, the Fern's mom. I did watch Thor Ragnarok. I
I
don't
don't remember
remember
it. Yeah.
much of it. Yeah. Hey, Pats fan says Strong Kill. Nerd Squadron says nerd affiliated. Pats fan. Strong Kill says Neil. I Neville
Neville
Longbottom.
Longbottom.
I like that. Hey, Jeremy Mike, had to go. Hope you have a great week and see you all in the chats. Good night, everyone. Appreciate you, Pats fan. Thank you so much for being here. Thrawn sub says Mike. Um, so yeah, we got the ship. Forget it.
Oh, he just dropped a comment. The assistant pirate lady was the right hand for the Grandmaster.
You're right. The Jeff
I thought that
Goldblum's
too, but I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't really dig deep into it though. But
nice,
they
and she
definitely
actually
look
kind of
alike.
looks the same, right?
Yeah, it's the same character. She got thrown away actually and ended up on that
Right.
planet. That's where
On
all
that
the
planet, yeah.
trash of the
There you go.
universe goes there. So
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
now we are connected.
Crossover. Yes, love it. I like that. So let me see. So she gets transmission out, and then they get attacked. So I'm trying to see. Pew pew pew. Come on. How to get through the barrier? Boom! There. So we get one of the couple actually of the pirate, fighters, and they pretty much hurt quite a bit the Onyx Cinder. So they're going down for sure.
So that
Uh,
from the pirates, that was basically was that a no. They got through the barrier. So I'm assuming the big ship and all the little ships now
right.
have security clearance, so they
Yes.
could
So they can
actually go in.
navigate.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because they went up back to the barrier,
Yeah, back
right?
up
They
into
were
it.
already
Yeah.
down in the surface. Um, so yeah, it's definitely in trouble. And they see her, coming down, and they're all kind of just watching her, which I thought was funny. That even Jod was just like looking, right? That's the moms. Even Jod was like, "Oh man, don't do this to me,"
That was the moment right here where I'm like, he's been kind of toying around with the I'm a bad guy, but I'm not
Yeah,
that bad of a guy. That scene right there kind of like really made me think like there's still the good in him to where he
right.
really doesn't want to hurt anybody. He's just playing the part of the bad guy.
So we saw this scene, right, that we just looked at. Well, here, of course, which good acting, by the way. Looked
Yep.
pretty legit. Um, so right there, right when he's like, "Dang it,"
Yep.
it's like it didn't have to be like this. But I'll be honest with you. So I was watching this episode with my kid, and when we saw the crash, he's like, "She's fine."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm not buying it," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? That was a little bit, weak sauce because all we see is kind of like a dust, cloud. There was no like fiery explosion type of thing. So I don't know. One of those things that I think would have sold it a little bit more. Um,
How crazy, how let's say ballsy would Disney have to be like, we just off the kid, like,
yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? Like that. I
Exactly.
was like, so number one, going into them, like, they're gonna crash land and be okay. But I mean, maybe a huge fireball would all freak us out. So I don't know if
Oh
that's
yeah.
why they were just like, nah, dust ball.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I'm sure there was a version out there, when they were testing this stuff, and they're like, "No, we go full on explosion." And so this kids, now they know that they're trying to bring in the the New Republic, so they need to shut down the barrier. Obviously, the parents don't want them to, right? Because again, the barrier is what's been keeping them hidden and safe for the longest time. But if they want to get rid of the pirates, which are obviously already inside the barrier, then there's really no choice, right?
Gotta do what I gotta do.
Exactly. And the kids had some pretty good lines here, convincing the parents that are like, no, this has to be done, right? I think Fern delivered some good ones. Like even when we went to
Yeah.
like the worst places in the galaxy, right? There were still good people there,
Yep.
people that help and stuff. Um, this was a tense scene. I gotta say, there was a split second when I thought Jod, I'm like, man, he's gonna give him, LASIK on LeBron,
But we have seen throughout Star Wars, like the bad guy cross the line without much hesitation.
Yeah, very
So
much so.
he can easily overpower all of them with the little bit of training that we find out that he has. But he's still holding back. Like he
Hmm.
could, obviously force choke. He could throw them really far, and when he does use his force ability, it's tame. Now, whether it's because he's not that powerful or he's holding back, I don't really know that, but it seems like he's holding back.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think because when he uses the force, it seems pretty effortless, to him.
Hmm.
Like he doesn't really have to like concentrate that much or like, hold it there and he's like shaking and stuff. Like he's pretty smooth at it, right? So I do get that. What you're saying is like he's probably more powerful than he lets on. Uh, is this story time? Come on, trying to see.
Yeah, I think that's where he crosses into his backstory.
Yeah, right. Trying to see. Here we go. When I was your age, all I cared about was not starving. I think he says live a hole in the ground. Yep. And a Jedi found me, right? And then he goes on. She might have been desperate and ragged like me. She told me I had potential, and
She.
that
That's,
exactly, and that was well. mm, she only told me a little before they hunted her down, and they made me watch while they killed her. That's the galaxy. It's dark with a few pinpricks of light. Which again, to your point, right? That little line, like there, he's not saying it's all dark and it's all hopeless, right? Like he does recognize there is a little bit of light out there, right? So, like you said, he's still kind of holding on to it, right? Um, maybe even unconsciously holding on
yeah.
to it. But again, obviously, I like that this was brought up, right? But I'm like flashback, flashback, flashback. Nothing.
Show us. Yeah, I was like,
Yes,
give us a little like was it Mando when he was like in the little bunker and he's having like little flashes
exactly.
of it? Give
Yep.
us a little bit of that. Like give us a hint of who this
Because
Jedi who found him.
I was already trying to come up with, okay, who survived Order 66
Yeah.
that we know of, right? Or that we don't know of, like it's hasn't been said one way or the other. So I'm like, dude, you can set some canon right here, right now.
Yep.
Like,
This is the time. Drop it
yeah, like
and nothing.
tell me that Chalk T, survived, right? Um, you know, something like give me somebody. Heck, give me Barry's Ophi for all I care, right? Like
Mm.
she interacted with him and then she went off with the Inquisitors or something like that. Um, again,
Or
plenty of
didn't
options. Yeah.
which one was I can't remember her name where she uh dang, she was a part of the Inquisitors and then they duked it out on a snowy planet, I think,
Hmm.
and ultimately survived. I don't think she died.
Right. So,
I forget her name. Uh, but anyway, there's tons of Jedi's that I think could
there's
have
options
easily
for sure.
fit the role.
Exactly.
And then another thing, we do know that he lies quite a bit. So is he just
Oh yeah.
giving a little bit of the story and not the full? Like, hey, I actually was a Jedi. Like, we escaped the temple.
Excuse me. Yeah, exactly. Now, while we're on the subject, I do want to share this. So, our friend Will from Will the Force, he shared this, which was shared by somebody else, and it was actually shared by the original cast member. So it seems that there was a design for Jod's master, right? And somebody actually trained, was cast for it, and shot the scene.
Ooh.
So this is her. She actually shared. So the actor actually shared this. Uh, This is her handle, Jazz Mastery. Sorry. So that's her. That's what she looks like in full getup. And this is just some of her behind the scenes stuff that she shared after the finale, aired. So it seems that she did a ton of training from what she shared on her original post. Let me see if I can see her post. Um, yeah, I think it's this one here because she shared some more pictures. Yeah, so there you go. Right, so she's sharing some of the behind the scenes, like I said, and some of the training. See, there you go. So I'm doing some katas, right? So it seems that it just didn't make the cut. But there very much seems there was a plan, for it. So there she is. That's kind of apparently right. That's kind of what it looked like. I think this one might be a good one there. So I don't know that there was a name attached to her character. I haven't seen it. There probably was, right? And maybe she just wasn't, privy to it, or she forgot to post it or something. But again, it very much seems that there was a plan, for that. So,
And
um,
assuming makeup and hair was not 100% done there, because I mean that seemed like really really basic, and
yeah.
you think they would have jazzed it up just a tad.
See,
But maybe they're going for that because I mean her robes are like traditional, straight up
yeah.
Jedi robe, not damaged, not dirty. So I'm
That
assuming there should have been more to that.
That's what I was gonna say. This might have been just like the fitting, right? Like, hey, we're
The
gonna
testing,
get you in.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like just some for the test footage or for the initial, choreography or something like that. Maybe not for the actual scene, right? Like you said, because I thought that too. I'm like that looks way too clean, right?
yeah.
That looks way too clean for it.
That looks like you're ready to go to Comic Con.
Yeah, very much so, very very much so. Um, Tronkill says it would be the Penkin of kids show if they have one of them. All right. She's hot. Yeah, she ain't bad looking. Tronkill says Order 66 possibly. Yeah, dude. I was like, all right, here we go. Order 66. I'm ready. I'm mentally prepared for it. Nope, nothing. So again, I do like that we got some backstory, but visually it would have been kind of nice, right? Just give me like 10, 15 seconds of a flashback, right? I think that
Yep.
would have really sold it. Anyway, so they keep the struggle going, and then Fern's trying to convince the mom to uh, to help shut down the barrier. The dad makes a lunge for it, Wim's dad, and I thought this was cool. So he actually, like, I don't know if you saw it, but he actually starts bending backwards his fingers with the force,
Yeah.
which I thought was like, oh, that's kind of new. You haven't really seen, like, yeah, there you go. So he starts like forcefully like bringing back his fingers.
That's what I was saying. Like he's got some force ability, but like
Yep.
when he goes to push him, it's just like meh. And then it's
Yeah,
like, well, you were just
exactly.
like about to rip the dude's arm off.
Yeah, very much so. So here we go. Obviously, again, I think to the surprise of nobody, they bring down the barrier. Um, See this, man. Here we go. I really like how visually look there. I gotta be honest with you. I had half a hope that Wim was going to force pull, the lightsaber
That's
from
what I was hoping for.
yeah, from Jot's hand. Um I know, not everybody can be a Jedi, but come on, how cool would that have been? Or for that matter, plot twist, Fern does it, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like somebody that didn't even care for the Jedi, right? Or she probably didn't even know what the Jedi were, right? Imagine if she all of a sudden just like her force, her force awakens in her,
Oh,
and I think that would have been pretty cool, like to see, one of the kids be force sensitive. We all know Neil is a future, Sith Lord, but they still haven't explored that here in this season. So yeah, cool scene. I thought it was kind of funny how Judd just goes like, whatever, man. He just kind of puts down the blaster, right?
That was
So
really like, again, like, you can easily overpower him. You can pull the
mhm.
lightsaber out of his hand. You could actually probably twist the lightsaber in his hand to cut him up. Like, but no, he's
Dude,
just like, I lost.
I'm done. Yeah, yeah, dude. I got the feelings like, you know what, guys, I'm tired. It's like, I'm tired. I'm just gonna let you have this one. So the whole barrier comes crashing down, glowing down, and then let's see, trying to see here, which was a pretty cool scene, of course, visually. Um, come on, where are these guys? Here we go. So the cavalry arrives with a couple of B wings, and then they get to work. And again, I'm sorry, but I don't recognize these pilots. If anybody here knows who they are meant to be, if they're characters that we're supposed to know, let me know. I don't know if did you recognize any of them?
I went back to that bar scene
Mm-hmm.
from Mando, trying to match up faces, but it was late at night and I was sleepy. So nobody really stuck out.
Yeah.
So I don't know who these people are.
Now I will say this next gentleman here.
That one, maybe.
Yeah. So he reminds me a lot from that pilot from Force Awakens, right? But again, we're what 20 years away from it, so maybe.
Yeah. Don't know how they
But
age.
yeah, I was gonna say, right, species wise, I don't know. So it could be, but maybe far fetched. So very very cool scene, of course. Every time we got X wings. Now I gotta be honest with you, man. What's up with the pirates and not believing in shields? Like, come on, man. Like uh your whole mobile base doesn't have shields. Like, what's going on? And then we get
It's because Neil shot the shield generator,
probably, yeah, you're probably
took them
right.
offline. No.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, immediately, obviously, pirates start, scattering as pirates would. I'm not gonna say they would like, oh no, we're gonna go down to the last man. No,
They
it's
didn't
not
have Captain Jack Sparrow. They would have
exactly.
they would have
But
won.
my gripe here is that this dude, oh my
A
lord,
lot of
this
people
was.
went nuts for that.
Ooh, I think I literally like shut out, when I was watching it the first time, and the kid got scared. He's like, what the hell happened? Um, but I'm like, dude, finally, right? Finally, we see this live action. Um, so this functionality of the B wings was kind of brought up back in Rebels, right? The animated show when they're trying to procure the prototype, right, from the creator. And even back then, I'm like, man, that's very OP for a fighter to be able to do that, right?
Mhm.
And something that I don't think was ever much hinted at in any of the lore before. But to finally see it here live action, this was beautiful. And of course, they ripped through the freighter.
Yeah, you just needed those two, and that was pretty
That's what I
much
was
it.
gonna say. The X Wings were just for show, but these dudes definitely sealed the deal.
That was the razzle dazzle of the X-wings.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's because I was thinking, I'm like, man, they got fighters, like the pirate ships got, like actual starfighters. Couple of them took down the Onyx
The
Cinder,
Onyx.
right? Yeah, so I'm like, where are those, man? But at the same time, I go back to what we saw in Mando, right? Again with our friend Matulis, when he's like, all right, guys, I'm out. When he sees that the battle is lost, they're like,
Mhm.
I'm kind of done, right? So
Yeah,
if you
live to
have
fight
your own
another day.
yeah, oh absolutely, if you have a ship with a hyperdrive, I would probably be too like, you know what, guys, this doesn't look good, so I'm outie. uh, I'm gonna go chill back in Tortuga, right? This was a little bit weird to me because Wim kind of calls out uh to Jod, right, like, hey man, let's go. And I thought,
Ah,
so the way he kind of called out to him, And the way the scene is set up, I'm like, dude, is this whole thing gonna blow up? Like, you
That's what
know,
I was thinking.
uh, I thought that maybe the freighter, the pirate freighter was gonna crash into it, and that's why Wim was like, dude, come on, like we gotta go. Like, you're not a great person, but we still, we don't want you to get squashed.
Well,
But
like not only that, but I think Wim still like I think he's even said, "How come I don't know who the good guy is?"
mm-hmm,
So
exactly,
I'm thinking like he still has hope that there is good in him, and that's why he's like, hey, we know you've screwed up already, but like
exactly.
let's get out of here.
But yeah, man, like don't throw it away. But not really. It was kind of just this. He's just chilling. He's just there by himself, watching it all come crashing down.
There goes all my friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, bummer. But see that little twinkle in his eye.
Hmm.
So again, cool scenes for sure. Every time we got X-wings in this shows, they look great. We see the pirates obviously scrambling, and then they take a little swim, right?
And right before they hit the water, if you listen real carefully, you can hear a very faint, "Did I do that?"
Yeah,
As Urkel goes down with the ship.
exactly. Love it. So yeah, there you go. Plenty of credits because the Onyx Cinder was already loaded up. They show up, and then I thought that was funny. How she just like
Yeah.
slides down,
Don't
along
go
with like
chasing waterfalls.
exactly, very much so. So KB's fine again, to the surprise of nobody. Um, so the gang's all reunited, and I love that. It's like, did we win?
Yeah.
Reminds me of the clanker, right, that we saw
Hmm.
earlier the show. And then the little guy and SM-33, come back out, and then Wim looks up into basically the New Republic forces. So we got X-wings, and then we got a Corellian Corvette, right, coming in. And there again, there I was like, all right, give me a cameo. Somebody we know is in the cockpit.
Yeah.
I was like,
Right
come on,
there, I
please.
was like, what general could
Yes,
possibly come
exactly.
in? And I was like, there's a handful of female generals that I would be down
Yep.
to see that kind of tie into the universe here. So
Dude, right? I mean, imagine, like Hera, of course, Leia, would have been awesome.
Leia would have
Um,
been a CGI budget. So
mhm,
hair, makeup, a little bit of CGI. Hair would have been the easier option, I think.
agreed.
Um, but no, we didn't get it.
We got nothing, and then it ended. I did enjoy this last little. Finally, we get a good look at the illustrations of the Jedi stories that Wim has been, sort of going through right from the very beginning, from episode one.
I'm curious
Um,
on if this is telling any stories of the old Republic um, Jedi of that era, because I mean, obviously that's the era they know. So I'm curious on who these Jedi's are.
yeah, and I'm sure some of them will be more obvious than others. See, this one, which one it reminded me of? Remember that trailer for the game, The Old Republic,
Hmm.
when Malgus and what's the other master's name? So it's a master and a Padawan, and they go up against Malgus, and they're trying to get like a device that's like spinning,
Yeah,
on the top of, and they basically fight, and Malgus kind of convinces the Padawan that not so much to join him, but that the
the
master is only
Jedi.
looking out. Yeah, is only looking
Yeah,
out
the
for
Jedi
himself.
are not what they are
Pretty
seen because
much.
she has
Yeah.
that flashback of her childhood.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And him basically like taking her away from the family and all that stuff, right? That's what this reminded me of. It's not, exactly like this, because I think they were like inside of a vault type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but that's what that one made me think of. This one, I mean, I think it looks like a Rancor.
Yeah,
But again, we do get the little braid there, so it looks like a Padawan. So plenty of stuff. Again, I'm sure somebody already kind of tried to match these up to stories that we know. I haven't seen it. I don't know if anybody here in the chat has. very much master and apprentice, right? And I was like, all right, are we having any sort of acolyte, depictions here? This kind of looked to me like Obi-Wan, to be honest.
Got
Just
some
because him
raiders or
writing,
pirates or something, right?
yeah. So they look like Trandoshans, maybe. Um, but yeah, we get plenty of cool, designs here. Obviously, we get some
Got a
Sith versus
Sith
Jedi
action.
action. Yeah, which would have been cool if he had like a mask or something that we can maybe sort of identify. This
Mm-hmm.
looks like somebody got taken off the board, right? And I don't know about you, but this looks more like almost like a ghostly figure. If you notice, she's a little bit translucent, like you can see
Mm-hmm.
through um her maybe a little bit. So yeah, kind of curious on this one's. But that is basically it. I did like this little sort of retro, logo with the action figures on the sides,
Yep.
and then that was it, right? They basically wrapped it up. Um, yeah. What did y'all think? Again, I think overall the episode felt a little bit rushed to me in the sense of we didn't really get any answers, right? Oh, let me do this. Here we go. We didn't really get any like concrete answers. Um, so I think I don't know, man. I get the feeling they were really banking on a season two,
Have you heard
and
anything for any insight from anybody of
I have
potential?
not
I've
yet.
gotten a small, and take it with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Um, I was told that they were gauging how the season did,
Yeah.
and really banking off of numbers for the finale
Yeah.
to kind of circle back. Not saying that it's completely shelved, but it's not a priority. It's pretty
Hmm.
much the info I'm getting from somebody that's connected to some of the
Sure.
actors.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of what they were told. So as it sits right now, there is no yes or no.
Yeah, I believe it because I was trying to find more concrete, evidence on it before the show, and I couldn't really find anything. But I did find quite a few articles saying that the viewership it's it's not quite there, right? I was trying to find the numbers, but I don't think they're out yet for the whole show. I do remember, and those articles they pop up that those first two episodes, the premiere didn't do quite hot, right? The numbers were definitely not what I think anybody was really expecting, right? It was actually pretty low, but obviously the show picked up. So I want to know if like you said, right, if towards the end, including the end, they offset it enough to be like, no, this was a hit, right? I got I gotta say, not a clear cut hit. Otherwise, I think we would have heard by now, right? About
Oh
a
yeah, by like episode, like by the fourth episode, if numbers were just like blowing it, like, oh, this is better than the Mandalorian, like,
yeah,
if, or it's the best number one show of all time. Like by episode 4, if we had that, for sure, they're like already cashing in that token. Like, yep, season
oh
2, don't
yeah,
worry about it, we got it in the books already.
exactly right, exactly. Or at least let us some breadcrumbs, right? That are like, hey, uh, Neil Nation, we're not done with you, or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know. Um, but yeah, it seems like we don't really got confirmation. Um, like you said, obviously Disney with Star Wars is definitely trying to play it as safe as they can at this point. Um,
and we've
but-
talked about it, and a few other people have talked about it. This show could have definitely have suffered what happened with the Solo story.
Mhm.
um they're not necessarily going to call it a bomb, but we're going to call it a bomb right before
Yep.
it, and it kind of sunk this series before it even really had a chance to take off. And then you're already in the hole. So coming out of it,
Yeah,
it's extremely tough.
it's
So
very tough. Yeah,
I think the show
exactly.
did great on its own without thinking about any type of business move on it. Uh, the show as a standalone, just here's a 8 episode series. I think it did really well. But when you're looking at it, obviously as a business,
Right.
was it enough to justify spending more money because the what do we call it? The materials of itself is not doing as great as we'd want it to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And again, it's always going to be, it's only going to get tougher, right? Going forward. Um, I mean, let's be honest, guys. After Acolyte, they're they're gonna go by the numbers, right? They're like, you know what? We tried something different that blew up in our face. So now, in order to try something, we gotta back it up with the numbers first. At least for the next couple of years or so. Let's see. If they trapped him in there, it would have turned into Scrooge McDuck and swam through all of those credits. Yeah, for sure. Neil Sidney Dart Elephantonis. Ooh, I
mm,
kind of like that. Kind of like that. All new pilots says Strong Kills. All right, good, good. Those are Hera's viewings from Rebels. Yeah, dude, it was awesome to see them in live action. I really liked the visually. It was nice. The creator said he wanted to emulate Wim's Jedi stories. Archer saying Disney committed to nothing in the finale. Yeah, pretty much, man. Numbers aren't out. Okay. And Archer would know. He definitely keeps his finger on the pulse. Sorry, I was lurking. It's all right. It's all right. I wish the graphics at the end were Jude Law's stories. Yep. I know. Stop making better Star Wars than what we got, man. Come on.
I actually went back and rewatched that to see
Hmm.
if there was anything that was like, oh, that is him, but no, there wasn't.
No. Yeah. Um, Nervin says, I forgot about that cinematic where the Padawan turns on. Yeah, it's a good one, man.
It's very good.
Honestly, all of those are great. I'm like, just give us an hour and a half movie of
How many
that
years
kind of
ago was that?
animation. Dude, that was like
You know what I mean? And like,
15 years ago. I don't know.
just give us a movie like just like that.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm telling you, just give us like a 90-minute movie. It doesn't have to be full on 2 hours. Just give us like a 90-minute movie of stuff like that. Make $2 billion.
Of Neil taking a bubble bath.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I want to know what he listens to. What is he's like vibing to, like winding down for the day. What kind of rubber duckies he prefers.
It's true.
Rubber elephants. I don't know. I got so many
Set
questions,
some candles,
dude.
maybe a little
Exactly right.
juice
And
box.
yes, oh man, absolutely. He's got to have a little sip here and there. So, oh man, perfect. Sold. There you go. That's your season 2. Not enough people are subscribed to Disney Plus to make a difference. I agree, man. Last year was rough for Disney Plus, which is funny because if you remember at what was it, that first quarter of the year, they actually for the first time reported that Disney Plus was a profitable,
Profit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, uh, asset for them, right? Like they actually made a profit with Disney Plus after what, 5 years, I think 6 years. I forget how long it's been around. And then Acolyte happens, and then everything. Nerfin says, I was going to defend the performance, looking for a season 2. Tales of the Jedi didn't appear to be a huge hit outside the hardcores, but we got a season 2. That
That's
is true.
true.
That is very true. Um,
Do we want a second season or a spinoff?
that's actually a good point. What will we get, right? What would be the best avenue right now? I bet Dave was given a choice. More of this, or he gets to push out Ahsoka season 2. What would you do? Well, we know that he's working on Ahsoka season 2, like full speed ahead, right?
I mean, that's his
So
baby right there. So
yeah, I was gonna say he ain't gonna jeopardize that. Um, yeah, I mean, Ahsoka is his jam for sure.
and
That's
with
all
the
him.
news and rumors we're getting with that,
Did you see that
big
today?
big three coming out, add one more. Yeah, if
Yeah,
that
no
comes
kidding.
true, I mean, I
Oh,
don't see
dude.
how that show's not going to kill it.
Exactly. Yeah, very much so. And let's be honest, it did really well on the first season because it gave us what we've been wanting to see in live action, right? Um, story wise, it's okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was like a smash, amazing story. I think it's okay for what it was intended to do. Could I have been better? Absolutely. Could it have been worse? Absolutely.
Definitely. Definitely.
Um, so yeah, I agree. I think in Dave's mind, Ahsoka season 2 right now kind of trumps everything. Um, Again, that's just that's his baby. He's got full on control of that show. He's the writer, he's the director. It's his character, obviously.
Did you see
Um,
the where he sees teenage Ahsoka live action like for the first time, where he walks on set and sees
oh, when he sees her, yeah,
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 and
dude. I
you can
mean,
just see like he's geeking out. I was like, dude, you created that. Why are you geeking out? Like that's yours. And he's just like, oh my god, this is
exactly.
weird.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But he's very much a fan, right? We sometimes forget he's always enjoyed this stuff, before he got to work on it.
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. Which I hope is still the case, man. More Thrawn, baby, says Tranquil. Yes, dude, I'm ready for more Thrawn. Um, that is one thing I did like, of course, about Ahsoka, them bringing back Thrawn and into live action. I can't wait for more. I hope they do him justice. Imagine Mando and Grogu bombs. Oh boy, dude, if Mando like bombs, we're in trouble. Like for reals in trouble, like franchise in trouble. Cause at this point, that's like the only safe bet they got for Star Wars, right?
That's the
Uh,
golden child right now. Like
yeah.
if that doesn't
Anything.
pull a
Yeah.
profit, then
Yeah.
shut it down.
Yeah. I was gonna say. That's what I was just about to say. I'm like, we don't get that. Like we don't. That's not a hit, man. We get one Star Wars projects every 2 years, maybe every 3 years. They definitely slow down. They might not go away because they paid quite a bit for the franchise, right? So I'm not saying they'll go away completely, but man, they're gonna slow down for
Oh yeah.
sure. Like we won't be on this every year, type of thing. Because every year we'll be getting something, right? Whether it be a show. Well, right now it's been a show, right? But before we had movies too. So yeah, it's gonna be a rough patch, man. If the Mandu movie bombs. Thrawn says the hyperspace life of Mandu and Grogu. I like that. Andor also was a massive hit outside the hardcore. So ultimately, what do I know? I don't know, man. Andor, I feel found its people later on. Like maybe as it was coming out, I don't think it was doing like amazing numbers.
I,
Um,
there was definitely a crescendo. It started off
yeah.
pretty soft and then it grew. I know a lot of people that aren't the biggest Star Wars fans, but they really dig this show. And I'm
Hmm.
like, it's not like the meat and potatoes of Star Wars. Like this is definitely a different storyline of
Yeah.
it, but they really enjoyed it. So I'm like, was this? And for me, the story was good. I don't know if I'm being too loose with it, but other people are like, man, that's a great story. I'm like, it's all right. It's not the
Yeah.
worst, but it's not what
No,
I'm used to.
I like the story overall, but I've said it before too. It had a little bit too much. Uh, you know, uh, I don't filler. I guess it had too much of a. They stretched it out too much. Is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, right? If it would have been a little bit more condensed, I think it would have been great. Archer saying, if I was an ignorant executive, I make sure Mando and Grogu is a kids movie. If I'm smart, I try to replicate the magic of season 2. That's tough, man. That is very, very tough, to be honest with you, to get us back to that mind space of um, the wonder that was season 2, because we didn't know where anything was going, right? We didn't know what was going on in the galaxy at that point. We didn't know who was around, all that stuff. Now that's the problem, right? Which I think Skeleton Crew suffers a little bit from. We know too much in the
Yep.
sense that in this particular period of time, we got everybody around, right? When we've talked about it here, Mando's around, Boba's around, Luke is around, Ahsoka around Dish, um, Ezra, right? We just got Cal Kestis for all we know. So we just got too many possible connection points, right? So when we don't get any, like we did with Skeleton Crew, we're like, uh, I like a
Yeah.
little bit, because we know there's so much, on the buffet that, and you're like, oh, you didn't pick any of it. It's kind of weird, right? So that's
And again, I don't know if Acolyte played into that because a lot
yeah,
of people were not happy with what we got in there um, when it apparently is breaking lore. So
yeah, right,
there's Mundy's not supposed to be there. Or is he supposed to be there? Don't know. Um, and that caused a stir. So maybe they were just like, you know what? Let's not put anybody in there because they're going to be like, well, technically at this time period, he should be here, not at Atten. Like you're
yeah,
breaking the lore. Like there's going to be some hardcore fan out there that could chip away at why this person showed up. Like they shouldn't be there. So I don't know if maybe that's part of the reason why we didn't get it, or was it budget issues? Like we're going to try to keep it lean. Like
true,
who knows?
very true. Archerson just finished Silo season 2. I just realized that as he was doing similar vibes with people trapped in a situation where someone controls them all without them knowing who. Also similar to Fallout. That is true.
Yep. Yep.
Dude, Fallout was great. Sorry to sidetrack, but Fallout was
Yep.
amazing.
That was a good one.
So yeah, we will see in the next few days maybe, um, if the skeleton Carino fever goes away, or if they make a decision right about season 2. If we get a season 2, I think a time jump is a must, right? Because what we saw right up to last week was all shot, what, 2 years ago, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right, just about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more by this point. uh so by the time they kind of greenlit the stuff, get the writers, get the directors, blah blah blah. What I'm trying to say is, by the time production actually starts, we're probably looking at the end of the year, maybe even next year, right? And then there's the filming, then of course the post production. So the kids are going to be like 4 years older, than what we saw in these episodes. So they're not going to look the same. They're definitely
And
not going to look the same.
I'll be okay with a decent time jump of like,
Yeah.
hey, guess who now joined the rebels?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what ship they got a banger and they're basically, duking it out with people on the outskirts, maybe not necessarily hardcore forces with the rebels, but
Sure. Yeah.
loosely tied with them.
Yeah. Imagine
They
it'd be kind of cool if they become like a exploratory force. Like if they're like, hey, you know what? We don't know what's out there. Go check.
Yeah.
I'm kind of down for that. I like that idea.
And then even with that, you can kind of like wait even longer. Like you don't necessarily have to jump on it to keep them kids. You could do it
Mm-hmm.
where, they're the age of Luke and Leia now. They're in their early teen or later teens.
Yep.
And so you could spin it that way. Like, at Atten, curtain fell, that planet became, a high point for both sides of trying to take over. And
Yeah.
ultimately, the New Republic lost, and that brought about a new force of bad guys, and it's the building of the First Order. So we kind of get something like that to tie into. So I think the door is wide open for multiple directions, but ultimately it's going to come down to the numbers, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. And plenty of stories, that they could branch off into. Um, they did leave the door, wide open. Really, nobody's off the board except for Brutus. R.I.P.
Yeah,
Brutus.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they can do quite a bit, right? But ultimately, the numbers definitely got to be there. So let us know in the comments, guys, what would you want to see in a season 2 of Skeleton Crew? I like to see a little bit more flashbacks.
Oh yeah,
I'll take
that's
two.
the
I'll
thing.
take like 2 flashbacks, in the
Yeah,
season. I don't need that many. I understand they're trying to do their own thing, and I appreciate that. But even through that prism, even through that lens, I'm like, yeah, but it's still Star Wars, right? Like it's still, the premise of this whole thing was the kids launch into the wider galaxy, right? And what does the wider galaxy have? They got the New Republic, they got the Empire remnants, they got Mandalorians, they got Jedi, right? Like they got famous heroes on both sides, right? So
One
you know,
thing, like when you see something that's somewhat successful, they follow it up with an animated series. Would you
true.
be okay with, like, not necessarily a what if, but like, where are they now? Skeleton Crew, where it's like maybe one or two episode, like mini little stories of each character, and maybe that's where we can get the flashback of what happened to Jod. And you know, is that something that you think could do good in this kind of avenue?
Dude, I wouldn't be mad if in the next Tales of X, right? Tales of the something, they throw in, Jod's story, right? I'll take a 10-minute episode of his backstory. I don't think we need much more than that, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I don't think we need a full-on movie or season, about it. I think, if we're talking about like Tales of the Jedi, right? Okay, give me the tale of Padawan Jod, right? And how he went from living out on the streets to being found, being trained, and then ultimately, right, becoming a pirate, right? Like everything that went wrong for him. I'd definitely take that, in an animated form. That would be kind of cool. And to your point, it would be kind of cool if we're not going to see a season two again for another 2 years, let's say, right? Um, Next year, give us a little short, like you said, right?
yeah.
Give us a little update, and it's like, hey, here's the crew, right? Here's the skeleton crew. That's what they've been up to. Again, it doesn't have to be a full on show. Just give me some shorts, right? Um, you know, give me, I don't know, um, Fern's mom, becoming the new administrator, right? For at the kids graduating or something like that, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, just a quick update. This is what they've been up to. This is, um, uh, their situation now. This is what the New Republic is trying to do, and like that kind of stuff, right? Just give me like three shorts that kind of update us on what's what and who's who, right? And then launch us into season two. I wouldn't mind that.
Yep.
Let's see. Archer says literally everyone is putting out great sci-fi except Disney. LOL, he says. Silo, Apple, Fallout, Amazon, Star Trek Brave New Worlds, Paramount, Dune Prophecy, HBO. Yeah, how is that? I haven't seen Dune Prophecy. Let me know how that is. I'd take season two. I hope they're stowaways on an adventure. There you go. Different planets and adventures. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool, right? But like I said, we can maybe this time around we can follow what we thought this show was going to be. When remember when we first heard about it, that they were going to be launched into unknown regions of space, right? Maybe we go for that in season two. Like I said, maybe they're exploring, like really exploring, like stuff that they haven't, like nobody in the New Republic or the Empire has been to, right? Like give me a chunk of unknown region, and these kids get stuck there.
Yep. Yeah, I was about to say, apparently that's where Thrawn has been for a good chunk of time, in an area that we really don't know too much about.
Exactly. Yes, dude. Oh my lord! Imagine if you bring the Chiss Empire to it. Oh, take all my money. Let's see. Dune's first episode is rough, but it really picks up after that. Nice. It's a prequel, right? It's a few hundred years before the movies, if I remember correctly. Um, but yeah, guys. So, what was your overall score for the whole season? I saw a couple of numbers here in the chat, and I'm inclined to agree. I think I'm right around like a 7.5 overall.
Yeah, I
How
think I
about you,
saw
Mike?
7.5. I was 7.3.
I saw that.
Um,
I was like,
I
man, that's
just
that's technical.
I just rake each episode a number, and then I add it up and then just divide by 8, and that's what it came out to. So typically with that, I'll just round up. So I'll land on a 7.5 to keep it, pretty, nice and easy to read, because then you
See,
got to
that's
explain, like, why is this at 7.3? It's like, I don't know.
I
That's just
was
how
gonna
the number
say.
came out.
Yeah. That's why Mike is successful, because he actually does math, He actually backs up his claims. So there you have it. I think we're right around the same mark of like a 7.3 to a 7.5, which we will call 7.4. for good measure. Um, so yeah, again, yes, I know I've said it 1,000 times. I'll try to say this one last time. It was a fun show. Um, I don't think I was, necessarily bored watching any of the episodes. I did find myself wanting them to advance a little bit more on a couple of them for sure. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't quite feel they stuck the landing on the last episode.
Yep.
Um, and from what I've seen, that seems to be more or less where people landed on to, uh, regarding again the ending, right? Because if it was an ending, if there won't be no season two, kind of not much of an ending, right? Like it's more like
Yeah.
a pause type of thing.
I really
Um,
felt like it was a, I wouldn't say an aggressive push
mhm.
of all in for season 2. It was kind of like, I've got a good hand, season 2, and
Yeah,
like
exactly.
not confidently saying, "Oh, look, we're going straight forward." It's like it's wide open. We could
Yeah,
do anything and everything. We're just putting our chips right here.
yeah,
Tell
exactly,
us what
right.
you think. It's
Yeah,
like slow play.
very much so. Very, very much so. I think. Um, so yeah, a 7.4 again is our rating here in the bunker for Skeleton Crew. But I think we are going to start here wrapping up. Thank you so much to everybody that joined us here for our last episode of Tortuga Talk. Again, last for now, right? We will see. If we get a season two announcement, maybe we'll jump back in here and talk about it, right? Maybe we'll try to go more in depth as to what that would look like. But again, we really appreciate each and every single one of you joining us. Thank you, Bunker Bunch. You guys were on fire tonight. Thank you for all those of you that hung out until now, the end. So please do not forget to hit us up on social media. We are on Instagram at the Dad Vader. Make sure you're following him for some like legit funny content, guys. Like I'm not even saying that because he's my partner in crime. Just like I was following him before that. All right. So definitely check him out. The Dad Vader over on Instagram. We are also on Instagram under general.kenobis.bunker. And that also gave us the same username for threads at general.kenobis.bunker. Also, we are on Facebook, General Kenobi's Bunker, all one word. And guess what? Guess what? We are still very much on TikTok.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, dude. We were gone for all of 8.5 hours, but man, we're back with a vengeance. So TikTok at General underscore Kenobi's underscore bunker. So yeah.
I kind of was like, I took it like a silent. Oof, one less thing I got to worry about, and it didn't last
Dude,
very long.
yeah, I was gonna say I felt weirdly relieved too, which might be a hypocritical thing to say because again that was like half of my followers, across all social media, right? It's over 6K, so I'm like, man, I lost a lot of people. But I was like, but at the same time, man, one less platform. And then they're like, just kidding, bam, here you
Just
go.
kidding. Have
Yeah,
some more. Which
yeah,
my
exactly.
CapCut is still not working, so my content's gonna be slow because I got to figure out what's going
No
on
way.
there.
Dang.
Yeah, like my
So
TikTok came back up, and then I was like, "Oh, sweet,
okay.
I can go edit this one video." And I go, and
And
it's like,
then
"Unfortunately, due to US ban." I'm like, "No, that's over. Get out of
yeah,
here." Like,
exactly. Update. Dude, I've heard about that. I've heard a few toy hunters also. They lost our good friend Chris from the Man Collects. He lost CapCut too. Nilda actually, I think, was unable to get back so far. So I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming it wasn't as easy as just flip the switch back again, or not for everybody. I never lost either, to be honest, which was weird. Um, I lost TikTok. I never lost CapCut. CapCut just kept working,
hmm.
and but I know some people have been having some difficulties. I don't know how the desktop version is doing. It
Mm,
might be something tied to your user. Maybe it's not back up yet. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping that in the next couple of days everything just gets back to
smooths
normal.
out.
Yeah,
I
at least
I
for
downloaded
like
one that somebody was like, "Oh man, just use this one," and I'm just like, "I'm too old for this. Delete the app. Like, I'll just wait."
there you go. Yeah, dude, I hear you. I'm so set that yeah, if you remove one of my softwares, for my work stream, I'm done for. I'm like, nope, that's it. I'm shutting down the channel. I can't do this. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's kind of funny, right? It's kind of funny how we had this big goodbyes from big companies and stuff like that, and they're like, we're just kidding, we're back.
We're just playing.
So, but yeah, thank you again for joining us here on this great stream. And Nerdophilia saying, great episode, fellas. Appreciate you joining, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So don't forget to leave us your like on this live stream before you exit. Thank you again. And we will catch you more than likely this upcoming Wednesday night for our regularly scheduled getting close to episode 100 of The High Ground. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great week. Stay warm. Stay safe. All right. And may the force be with you. We'll see you later.